afternoon, good evening. Like we say on this show, it all depends the time zone from where you are watching us from. Welcome to The Leader, courtesy of the Evangelical Alliance of Kenya, EAK, on Hope Media. My name is Edmund Mudibo. In a society like ours, where compromise is often seen as, quote-unquote, the smart way out, we must pause and ask, does integrity still count? Does it matter in the boardroom, in public office, at home, or even behind closed doors? Proverbs 11 verse 3 says, "The integrity of the upright guides them, but the unfaithful are destroyed by their duplicity." And that's a sobering reminder that our choices carry consequences not just for today, but for eternity. And in the Leader Show today, we'll explore what integrity means in the context of present-day Kenya. The pressure to conform, and the powerful, often hidden rewards that come from choosing the narrow path. And I'm very glad to help us unpack this. I'm joined by Ms. Dr. Jane Rose Kibara, Chairperson, Ethical Leaders Network, ELNET. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Edmund.
Now tell me, Dr. Kibara, what is integrity?
Thank you, Edmund, for having me. And hello, everyone who is watching this show this morning or evening or afternoon, wherever you're watching us from. Integrity is simply doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. And being consistent in your actions, whether in the boardroom, whether at home, whether driving on the road without overlapping, for example. That is what is integrity.
Now, you're the chairperson at ELNET. How did you end up getting there? Was it realizing a dream or just happened or a mistake? And you can tell us what ELNET is all about. And just a couple of weeks back, we're sharing offset the breakfast. We had all these leaders together. And what came out of that?
Oh, thank you. I want to say I'm very passionate about integrity, number one. And I believe we can change this nation. We can change the society. We can change the way we do things. And that is how I ended up at ELNET. I went to ELNET through Life Ministry, where I used to support one of our friends. Maybe I don't mind mentioning, they have been actually missionaries. And they've been doing great work. They're still doing amazing work. Professor Tim Kirui was a classmate. Actually, they were in campus with my husband. So I knew them through my husband. Later, much after they graduated from the University of Nairobi. And he invited us, and personally to ELNET. That's how I knew about ELNET. And because I think he knew my passion about ethics and leadership. I had also participated in SALT, where we were also mentoring and training leaders. So ELNET means Ethical Leadership Network. It's ELNET, we believe in doing things the right way. Leadership with integrity. Doing business with integrity, because we believe that you can still do business without taking bribes, without cutting corners. We believe in training leaders to manage organizations with integrity, and that's what we do at ELNET. We actually we assess leaders, we assess organizations, and award them a mark of ethics. So far, we've awarded like 22 leaders, 18 businesses, organizations, and they are doing very well. They are thriving. And therefore, we believe that we can change this nation. We had breakfast around 3 weeks ago, where we brought together almost 200 leaders. And it was an amazing discussion where people were so excited that there are still people who believe in ethics, in doing things the right way, who have not lost hope in this country. And it was a very exciting moment because people were very, very excited. And many of them actually have joined us. have joined ELNET, and I want to take this opportunity to invite our viewers to join us, and together we will hold hands and we will transform this nation. Yes, you do things the right way. We believe in leadership or with integrity, where people will be promoted because they qualify, because of their hard work, not because of whom they know. People get jobs because they are qualified, not because of where they come from.
Now let's look at in the Kenyan Christian context, biblical versus societal definition of integrity. Are they at the same level, or is one only for Sundays, or if at all you're in a Christian environment?
To me, ethics and integrity, integrity is actually consistency. Doing the right thing all the time, whether in church, whether in the office, whether in the boardroom, whether in doing business, a business transaction, whether in the tendering process, you're doing the right thing at the right time. Because biblically, integrity is actually adhering to the moral and ethical principles. Christ gave us a very clear definition, a very straight path to follow. Do not be conformed. We are called to be transformers, to transform this nation, to transform our families, our societies where we live. And that is why I believe we are, as Christians, we are able to transform this nation. We are able to transform the way we conduct business, the way we do our leadership. I want to give a very simple example. I've noted during campaigns, people give money to be voted. They bribe voters. And I want to say that is not the right thing. That is not our calling. Whether you are Christian, whether you are Muslim, whether you are Hindu, we are called to adhere to moral principles. And I believe even the people in other religions, they believe in particular moral principles. And that cuts across. It's not only to Christians alone, but for us Christians, we have a bigger calling as Christians to lead the way, to lead by example. And that is why we should actually not give bribes or take bribes from people so that we can vote them. The question you need to ask yourself, this person who is bribing to get into office, what will happen when they get there? When they get to the office, definitely they'll recover their money. That is number one. Number two, it is a wrong thing. So, and they feel they have an deficiency in them. That is what they need to cover, so that they want to hoodwink you so that you can vote them in. Therefore, I want urge everyone, let us do the right thing all the time. Let us make sure if it's voting, let us vote in men and women of integrity. And coming to voting at ELNET, we actually have a criteria as we do our training and mentorship, because at ELNET we have governance we have a governance mentoring and actually all these they are the business, the business all these, they actually adhere to the same criteria of ethics, and ensuring that if you're mentoring men and women of integrity to become leaders. These are the young people. If it's in business, we are mentoring business leaders, business men and women to conduct business in an ethical way. In governance, and this is where now the voting in comes in, and our criteria, we call it BVIP, whereby you need to vote in men who are, upright. People who have moral values, people who have family values. For example, before you vote in someone, and this person does not even, his family is in chaos. They have maybe even divorced or something funny has happened to them. And then they want to be your leaders. What happens? Yeah.
So tell me then, this economy is tough for all of us.
Yes, it is.
And we as Christians then, how would we claim to walk in integrity if we cut corners to survive in the economy?
Thank you, Edmund. And I want to say that the economy of God never changes, and it now does not know. It is always in plenty. And as Christians, we should believe He will provide. That is number one. The economy of our God does not change. Because it does not matter how difficult the situation is, our God is still on the throne. And He will take care of it. Yes, it is difficult even for us as Christians, but remember Christ told us, He will not remove us from this world, but He will give us the grace to overcome. So even this difficult economy, we should not be conformed. We should stand firm, do the right thing, and not cut corners. Because we know it is expensive. Corruption is expensive. Unethical behavior, unethical practices are very expensive. I'll give an example of our education system. Our education system is the most expensive in the world. And especially when it comes to examination administration. I am saying this because I'm in education sector. I'm a lecturer at Kenyatta University, and we train teachers. I'm in the School of Education where we train teachers. And you find that during the examination period, billions of shillings are spent to monitor examination. Why? Because people will cheat. That is an issue of integrity. You find that we will hire choppers, we will hire containers to store examinations. Why? Because if we don't do that, people will steal exams. And then these are Christians. We should adhere to the right thing. It does not matter. It is actually a bad culture we have created as a nation. And it is that culture that we are praying and hoping to change. And we have purposed we will change that culture. At HealthNet, we believe it is possible to conduct business in the right way. It is possible to conduct leadership in the right way. It doesn't matter how difficult the business is. Change begins with you. Change begins with me. When you cut that shortcut, you will not sustain it. It is not sustainable. It is more expensive because if you give a bribe today to get a tender, that means you have to continue giving these bribes. If you, for example, you bribe a police officer on the road, you are actually enhancing that. But if we all decide that you're not bribing, then we are going to change things the way they are being done. It is more expensive to get engaged in corrupt practices than to adhere to the right ethical ways of doing things. So it doesn't matter how difficult the situation is for now. As Christians, as Kenyans, we should purpose to do the right thing and wait upon God. The situation will change. No situation is permanent. Even this one is not permanent. Imagine things will improve. We should believe things will improve and do the right thing so that we all work together to change our nation.
It's no wonder that the ballot paper has got so many hidden features and security features, and to just dissuade those who would be very tempted to, of course, cut corners on the same.
Exactly, because we have actually created a culture of unethical behavior, and we should all run away from that. We should all change, but I believe change is possible, and this country will change.
So so when do we start inculcating that culture of integrity? Let's go back to the very basic in a family setup, because then that is a basic unit of society as you go forth.
Oh, actually, that is where we should begin. I want to give a very simple example. In a family setup, let our children, when they're small, just as the Bible tells us, train them when they're young. And when they are old, they will not depart from it. And I've seen, Edmond, if you can remember the things your mom or your dad told you when you were very small, you still remember them. Exactly. Therefore, if we inculcate ethical behaviors in our children from home, they will not depart. I'll give an example of maybe a child goes to school and comes back with a sweater that does not belong to them. I just want to give very basic, because it's a small child who is maybe in grade 2 or even in Form 1, going to a boarding school, coming up with a backpack which I know I did not buy. I should tell them, ask them where they got it from, and make sure it is returned to the owner, even if it means going back to school. And if you did that, that child will never bring something that does not belong to them again. What kind of language do we speak in our homes? What kind of behaviors do we actually inculcate in our homes when you're speaking in a family setup? You know, ethics is not just about doing, even the way you are speaking. Because are we the people that are talking about our neighbors negatively? Are we the people praising wealth, such that the young people, immediately they get jobs, they think of how they can be millionaires tomorrow. You get a job today, and tomorrow you want to drive that big car because they have seen it from home. They have had dad and mom talk about how they cut that deal. So we must actually do things right just from home. Teaching and training the young people from when they're children, the value of integrity, doing things the right way, simple things, even talking. Are you the people that talk about teachers negatively? Simple things like those, you know. Are you the person who praises, you know, amassing so much wealth, when we know very many people are suffering, very many people actually in want, are needy. And the women, unfortunately, we fall, we fail this exam. You find you have so many clothes in your wardrobe. Sometimes you moved them from your bedroom and even gone to look for an extra room, maybe your children's room or guest room, to store them, because there are so many. Yet, there are very many needy people around you. What are you doing? Are you the person who will pack those clothes you don't wear? Of course, you don't need them. Take them to a needy person. Take them to a children's home. Or are you that person who amasses so much? Edmond, it does not matter how much we have. And we must train our children to know that. We can only use this much at a time. It is all vanity. Even if you have 5 cars today, you can only drive one. Imagine if I walked in here in a suit, in a trouser, I will look funny, and you think this lady is not right because I have so many clothes. Suppose that is not possible. God is an equalizer. He made sure you can only use this much. You can only be able to eat this much. Even if we are at our home buffet here, we can only eat 1 plate. You can't eat 2 plates. So these are the values we need to inculcate to our children when they're young. The same case to school. In schools, teachers, just as the Bible says, teachers will be judged more harshly than the others. They should also train the children. But the first training begins at home. Remember, our home is our first Jerusalem. Before we go out there, we have to get to... You have to actually to start it at home. And I want to give you one of the most recent examples I had. My daughter called me, and she had been stopped by a police officer because I think she made the wrong turning at the roundabout. And I told her, can I speak to her? She was a lady, and I spoke to her, forgive her. That is my principle. I don't bribe. And I said, I will not even bribe a police officer. Let me take it. Let's go through the process. But that is not what many of us do not want to do because it's inconvenient. So I asked the lady to forgive her, and she told me, send her lunch then. I told her, I'm sorry, I do not have money.
Yeah.
And finally, of course, she released her, but I insisted, I am not going to, I'm not sending money. After that, my daughter told me, she has released me, Mom, and I told her, Sharon, you know, I do not bribe policemen. She told me, Mom, I know. I know my daughter, even if she becomes a big woman like me,
she will remember that.
She'll remember that, and she'll not bribe. So these are the things that we are talking about. As Christians, let us be consistent from home to the office, to the road, you know, to the factory, to the farm. You know, research has shown that the many cases of cancer, the many cases of illness that are affecting us today in this country, it's because of, you know, illegal. I'm calling them illegal because they have been banned in other countries, pesticides
yes.
that are being used in our country. That is because of unethical behavior, unethical practice. So even if it's in your form, please do the right thing. Who is allowing these banned pesticides to come and kill our people? There are people who are maybe doing shortcuts. People are taking bribes. So that's why I'm saying we must be consistent. Corruption is actually, you know, unethical behavior. Integrity it's a virtue that we should carry throughout our lives, throughout all our stages I want to say in all our spaces. Farmers, sometimes you find that they have sprayed their vegetables, and buyer comes and tells them, I need to buy. The buyer says, the farmer says, I just sprayed them 5 days ago. The pesticides, the instructions say, shouldn't take 7 days. And of course, because of the issue of integrity that we have as a nation, this buyer will say, it's okay.
Let me just take.
Let me just take. And the farmer, because also he or she does not have integrity in them, they will sell. What will happen? Edmund and I will consume these pesticides because they have not been processed. That is unethical behavior. That is an issue of integrity. That's why we must be consistent across, in all spaces. Actually, it's interesting. When I hear people talk about corruption in government, corruption in a place, people are corrupt literally everywhere. And those are things we need to change. Yeah, those small things you think are small, they are not.
They have consequences.
They have consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, clearly, integrity is under pressure.
It is.
And they are what one would call situational temptations, that is bribery. Just turn the other way, or, you know, don't turn up for this meeting because you'd be the voice that is dissenting that will upset the vote. Job interviews. You've got tendering. We've got exams. You're in that space. And the consequence down the road is that we end up having now graduates. We've got professionals who are not really up to, you know, the mark in terms of what they're supposed to do. There's pressure from systems where, for example, you've got this mentality of everybody does it. So why should I be different? After all, we are the majority. So it seems. But there are stories of people who have stood for integrity and paid a price, or were eventually honored. Because you'll find that some names that are just pop up, and they're not necessarily the only ones. Timothy Njoya. And you could find that those who were very happy, you know, subjecting him to all manner of, you know. And the others who possibly even in your journey of life you could raise up. So what advice would you have for someone in public service or business who feels they can't succeed without compromise?
Thank you. Actually, I would advise them it is possible to succeed without compromise because there are very many good benefits of doing things the right way without getting compromised. Unethical behavior is very expensive. And I want to say that there are people, the people you're mentioning, they have a legacy, you know, they have a legacy. And that gives us hope as this country, that still there's room and there's hope to do things right, to set the record straight where we went wrong, you know, to ask ourselves, when did the rain start beating us? And we pick it up from there. And that is why I'm saying it is possible to do things, to do business, to conduct business interviews and recruit the right people, qualifying people without bribe, without, it is possible. And what the things you've mentioned, for example, the issue of the exam, we also know, we've known of things like whereby even promotions, people, some people miss promotions because they have refused to be compromised. All those are what we call ethical dilemmas. Yeah, it's an ethical dilemma. You find that you're qualified, you apply for a job, kumbe, already the shortlisting, and they already know whom they wanted. So what does that mean? It means that we get the wrong people in the workplace. We get medical doctors who are not qualified. The other day we heard of a scandal where people were admitted to a medical school when they have not qualified. So all of these actually are very expensive. It is very expensive. Unethical practice, which is lack of integrity, is very expensive, not only to a nation, but also to individuals. For example, whereby you cannot sustain a business through corruption. You are doing maybe tenders and you have to go and bribe these people to you know, doesn't matter. All the people are supposed to sign your papers. You have to bribe them. It is expensive. And again, it does not give you peace of mind. So when you do things the right way, there are so many benefits. One, there's peace of mind. You get to get the qualifying people, and therefore you find that things are done the right way. Why do we have so many graduates who are jobless? And then there are many opportunities in our nation. If we are doing things the right way, there's enough for every person in this country. There's enough for all of us. There's enough if we all use it equally and know that we can only use this much as individuals. If we have the wrong medical doctors, medical students being admitted to the medical schools, of course, the result is that we'll have the wrong medical doctors who are going to do surgeries to people. And you know the repercussions of doing of that. If we have got the wrong engineers, we know what will happen, the results, road accidents on the roads. So you find that it will be a vicious cycle of the wrong things happening and continuing. Therefore, it is always good to adhere to the narrow and the straight path. And it is also good to do the right thing because you'll be happy. You'll be have peace of mind. Your conscience will be clear that I did the right thing. For example, if you give a bribe because you are overspending, you will not have a conscience. You know, you're not going to have peace of mind. And we know what again, talking about that overspending again, we've seen a lot of road carnage on our roads. Why? Lack of integrity. Our drivers, the business owners who are owning these matatus, they give the matatu drivers targets, unimaginable targets. That is great. I'm sorry to say that. And therefore, what will this person do? Because he also wants his money, he's going to spend on the road. And because the other people who are supposed to maintain law and order again also want their cut, they will close their eye. And then it becomes a vicious cycle. So you find that the country loses so much. Actually, it loses so much. When you do corruption, for example, you are importing goods. There are some people who are not paying taxes, and like we know, very many Kenyans are evading taxes. Then government loses a lot of money. When the government loses money, there will be no money for education. There will be no money for health. So who is losing?
It's the people.
It's the people. So let us all do the right thing, and it is possible.
Now that you're getting into rewards of integrity, I'd like to see through maybe 3 or 4, pillars. One, spiritual rewards. And here I'm looking at peace, what you're all seeking to have and search for. And you can have all these acquisitions through less than integrity in terms of means.
Yeah.
God's favor, clear conscience.
Yeah.
That's what I'd see as spiritual rewards. There's the impact in society, social impact, trust, influence, legacy. You alluded to that earlier on.
Yeah.
And their practical outcomes. Those who then get the job promotions, leadership credibility, long-term blessings. So why do you think many people overlook these rewards in pursuit of instant gratification? Kama si sasa hivi.
Thank you. Thank you for that. One, I would say it is a way we've been socialized. And, actually, we've been brought up in a society whereby we want things to happen and happen now. And I've also noted this other strange aspect of scarcity mentality. That it is finishing. Let me have it before it's over. And it is the same scarcity mentality. People take to the road. That people want to overlap. People want to, they want to cut. People moving on the wrong direction of the road because they have that scarcity mentality. We need to speak honestly to ourselves and really search ourselves and the purpose to change. Because shortcuts do not take people far. It is a shortcut, and it will remain that shortcut. It has no permanent blessings. It has no permanent effect. That is why you find a young person getting a job today, and tomorrow they want to drive a big car that somebody who has been working for 30 years is driving. Doesn't know you've worked, you've saved, or even you've sacrifices you made, you've taken loans, but then they want it now. It is a culture we've inculcated in our people, and that's why we are saying people should change from the family level. Let us inculcate the right values to our children. Let us inculcate the right values to our people. The need for patience. There's no patience. People are not patient. That is why people want, you get into a job, you want to become a director after 2 years. My goodness, you don't know the director who has been working for the last 20 years, So there is that need to inculcate the right values, virtues, being patient, hard work, actually, especially hard work. And if we all inculcated values, the right values, patience, hard work, responsibility, love, then we will change the way things are done. Because a person who wants to the instant gratification does not want to be patient and work patiently for it. Doesn't know for Edmond to be where he is. He has worked for years. He has trained for years. But he wants to graduate from the Kenya School of Mass Communication and he wants to be like Edmond tomorrow. No. So that is what I want to say.
And when you look at, for example, the Kenya situation, let's keep it Kenyan here. And a personal indictment in the leaders we have in parliament, those who have elected. And the Constitution requires public participation. So even just the whole definition of public participation for the greater good where people have opportunity to input. Because you got in, signed a piece of paper, then it is presumed that you have participated. But the process of public participation in terms of what then should be carried forth as an outcome, as the voice of the people in terms of sentiments, is not necessarily what you expect.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
I will look at that from two perspectives. Edmond, one thing I've noted with the public participation, our people are as guilt as changed. That is one perspective. Because you find that people are invited for public participation, but they will not attend. They won't go. They're busy. Someone will say, I'm busy, I have a business deal, I have a business, a meeting to attend to, I'm going to work. They will have all manner of excuses. And it will go, with a few that will have participated. The other one, there is no much sensitization. People need to be sensitized about public participation. Actually, there's a lot of civic education that requires to be done in this nation. And I've noted that many things that happen, it is because there's no, especially those things that go wrong, it's lack of implementation. We've got the best laws in this country, the best policies in this country, but the implementation is almost nil. We do not have implementation, and that is where we need to work on. One, people need to participate, to purpose, to be part and parts of the process.
Be involved.
Get involved, because we are not involved. You hear, we have the County Council, for example, of Nairobi calls for forums, for, planning. People do not attend. I'll give a very good example. Yesterday, our budget was presented. How many of us? Because it was actually in the website, the Minister of Finance for a number of days. How many of us went through to see what will be presented? Very few of us did that. We are always given opportunities to comment, to give our views, to give our opinions, but we do not. It is high time we purpose to as we work towards transforming this nation to be what we want it to be. Because that is my prayer, that we are going to work, all of us as a team, as Kenyans, to make this country what we want it to be. A beautiful country where all of us will thrive, either in business, in leadership, where our children, when they graduate from school, they will get opportunities for business, opportunities for training, opportunities for leadership. We must purpose, we must be involved, we must participate. That is what is missing. Yes.
And what of those who then, you brought out consistency and doing the right thing, even if you're the only one doing it.
Yeah,
and doesn't
very
matter, that there seems to be nobody else. And when you have fallen, because we are not perfect in this world, Christ said, in this world, this space is fallen. However, He's given us, and He says He'll be with us, and through His grace and capacity, we'll be able to depend on the Holy Spirit to overcome.
Yeah.
When you have situations where one has fallen or is not seen as perfect, how would you rehabilitate those who may have fallen and still be able to stand up? Because it's all too easy. We'll say, okay, Dr. Jane Rose, here you are, but look at what you've done in the past. Who are you to tell us today? Why should we listen to you?
Yeah.
Or maybe it is your parent who fell, and they say the tree, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Far from the tree.
So then you get judged by...
Because of my parents' actions, you're right. That happens. And I want to say that it is normal, it's in human nature to fall. But when you fall, you don't remain there. You must wake up, dust yourself, and move on. What does that mean? One, there must be true repentance from this person. Yeah, we fall. Nobody is perfect. Even the Bible says we have all fallen short of His glory. We've all fallen short of His glory. None of us can declare to be perfect. So we have all our shortcomings, but the thing is, we become conscious of them, repent, and stop doing it. Therefore, the same case to those leaders, for example, those even Christians, we know they are fallen, we've all fallen short of God's glory. We wake up, we repent, and we purpose not to fall there again. Being judgmental, judging other people, it is not right, because nobody is perfect. But the thing we are saying is that you must stop. Mm-hmm. Yes, you must stop. Yes, you fell, but does not mean you keep on falling again. Mm-hmm. You have to stop it. You have to make sure you do the right thing. Mm-hmm. Yes, you realize that conscious that it was wrong what I did, and then you purpose not to repeat that mistake.
Let's go through, because in public service, procurement always seems to be the usual suspect. Mm-hmm. And you've got a whole process. You now, as opposed to quoting the right price, you give a price that is higher than what it should be. Mm-hmm. And then you're tempted to influence the process down the road. And if you don't influence to get paid, the ones who seem to get paid are the ones who, no, I'm not passing judgment that they're necessarily the ones who have done wrong, but you could have gone through, done, because you didn't participate, encourage, or get involved in the whole process of bribery, then you don't get paid. Becomes an issue of pending bills, yet you took a loan on the same. And of course, then the consequences of you who did the right thing seems to be suffering. Where do you voice, where do you find, where do you go to so that then your voice can be heard?
Thank you, Edmund, for bringing up that issue of the tendering process. Actually, that is a elephant in the house as matters integrity in the public service is concerned. And because of that, you find that prices of goods and services are exaggerated because there are people who want their cut at the end. One thing I would urge all of us is to detest from giving that bribe. I want to present a scenario whereby all of us, let's assume we are 100 people who are applying for this tender to supply for the installation of maybe CCTV cameras in the city of Nairobi, or to supply laptops to schools. And all of us, we all purpose, we are not going to bribe. Do you know the due process will take place? If we all purpose, none of us is bribing. And the next time they are preparing these tenders, they will use the right values. Again, then we also need to have people do their jobs. There are people who are supposed to review these tenders. Mm-hmm. Are they doing their jobs well? We have the competition, there's the competition authority, they are very, again, back to the implementation. Our country has got the best laws, the best organizations. We have an organization that, the consumer bodies that are supposed to protect our people from being exploited by overpricing. Where are they? Do we find them? I believe in the government. Why do we find something that is supposed to cost 100,000 goes for 1 million shillings? Why? It doesn't mean there is no law. There's nobody in this particular organization who is supposed. What about the internal audit? Is it working? Because if it is working, an item should not cost 10 times the right cost. Because these are the loopholes that are there. Therefore, we are simply saying people need to do the right thing, number one, from the beginning, from the onset. Let us have people doing their job. If it is that particular tendering, do not bribe. Let us purpose. And again, I'll repeat, change will begin with you and me. We all purpose to do the right thing. Then if you're employed to ensure a particular procedure is done, please do it. It is not only for you, for eternity, for generations to come. We are talking about leaving a legacy. What legacy did you leave in that particular organization? Is it of impunity? Is it of corruption, where we have the wrong people hired because they knew that they have relatives who can speak to them? Is it where we have one particular tribe getting all the jobs because they are able to give bribes or because they know who? Really, let us have things being done. And we also have, we have laws in this country. We are supposed to have equality. Equality. And when you talk about equality, again, you talk about men and women. Are we finding the women, the new number of women, the two-third gender rule, is it being implemented? It has propped in parliament so many times. Why? So you can see, these are ethical issues.
You know, it's interesting to say that because even in meetings where encouraging as a standing a requirement, declaration of conflict of interest in matters before the meeting, whether it is you're discussing matters of procurement, your promotion, or anything that happens, then from the get-go, all those who are in that meeting and after that who are affected by the consequence of decisions made there know, and then they can trust and believe that the right things came through.
Yeah, exactly. They need to be honest. Be honest with yourself. And that is being consistent, doing the right thing and purposing, I'll do the right thing. I will stand for the truth. I'll stand for the right thing being done. And I'll be ethical in all my dealings. If, for example, you are sitting in an interview panel and you know a relative is in that interview, your friend's daughter is being interviewed, declare your conflict of interest. Say, declare.
There's a potential conflict of interest. Yeah, then let it be known.
Exactly, let it be known. If it is a tender, and maybe somebody knows, somebody you worked with is tendering, please declare. Let it be known. So that if it's a final decision that is being made, abstain from making that decision because it might influence you. Imagine if we only did the right thing, Edmond, we would change this country.
We've been speaking and saying, but is the church immunized from matters integrity?
Thank you. Thank you for asking that question. The church is not immunized. And actually, the bigger burden is on the church. And that is what the church should be doing, should be in the forefront, speaking against unethical practice. The church should be number one in leading with integrity. We are told Kenyans are 80% Christians.
So the statistics say.
Statistics. So actually now it's not 80. 80 was long time ago. It should be around 85, 90 now. So we should see that being depicted in what is happening in our nation. If we are all Christians, we should live by our calling. Therefore, the church is not immunized, and the church is you and me. It's not that building where we go. Therefore, that should be reflected in what is happening in our nation, in our dealings, day-to-day dealings, even our relationship with each other. How are we treating each other? Are we treating each other with kindness? Edmond, if you went to social media, the kind of hatred you see, you feel sorry. We as Christians, we need to be tolerant to one another. Nobody is perfect. We need to treat each other with love. That is the beginning. That is the genesis of everything. Treating each other with love is that which is going to make me not bribe for that child from a needy home, needy background, from a humble background, not get an opportunity at the expense of mine, and allow the due process to take place. And that is how we are going to change this nation.
Wow. Now, the population, again, numbers don't lie, numbers don't die, and numbers tell a story.
Yes.
Kenya as a nation, Africa indeed, the third world, the majority is the youthful profile, as it were, in terms of the numbers. What word would you have for the young, the youth, the young adults
Oh, thank you, thank you. Those are my favorite. I'm actually a mentor, even I'm a staff mentor at Kenyatta University, and I mentor young people. And I would like to tell them, don't give up. Do not give up and do the right thing. Speak up. Yes, speak up, speak up. And don't just speak, also do the right thing. Do the right thing. Hold us accountable, hold everybody accountable, but also lead by example. And there's hope for this nation. There's hope through our young people. There's hope through all of us. If we purpose to do the right thing and we should purpose, I believe there's hope for this country and we are going to change. One person at a time, one organization at a time. Yes.
In the workplace, what would be your word?
In the workplace, let us do our work with diligence and godly fear. With diligence and godly fear. What we are called to do, let us do it. Give it our best, because there is some blessing. The word of the Lord tells us, I'll bless the work of your hands. If you don't work, there will be nothing for God to bless. So let us give it our best. Let us work like there's no tomorrow. We are told we work because noon is coming.
It is.
You know, darkness is coming anytime. So let us work when there is still daylight. Yeah, because you soon exit the stage and we need to leave a legacy. Let us give it our best and let us become good role models to the people we are working with. Let us become good role models and mentors to those that are joining the organizations.
And then in the home and the community where we stay.
In the home where we are staying, let our homes be the backbone for integrity. Let us bring up godly children, children who fear God, children of integrity. Even us as parents, as the young people in the families, let us be people of integrity. Let us strive to do the right thing. In the community, let us live with harmony. Let us love each other. Let us become our brothers, our sisters' keeper. If we did that, we will be good to go. Let's take care of each other. Let our neighbor child not get, drop out of school when all of us are so, capable of supporting. Let us support each other. Let us cover each other. And together we will forge this forward and make this country great.
Indeed. What a show. Thank you for the insights. And we've been reminded that living with integrity isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. We've seen that integrity may cost you opportunities, comfort, or even popularity, but the reward is far greater. A clear conscience, a life of purpose, the trust of others, and above all, God's approval. Kenya is crying out for men and women of integrity in your home, in your school, your office, your country. You can be the difference. So here's a challenge to you, the viewer out there. This week, ask yourself, what would it look like for me to walk in integrity publicly and privately? Remember Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, that says, let us not grow weary of doing good, for at the proper time we'll reap a harvest if we do not give up. Choose integrity. Trust God with the reward. Dr. Jane Rose Kibara, thank you very much.
Thank you, Edmund, for having me.
Yes.
God bless you.
Asante sana. And to you out there, we don't take the privilege of your time for granted. We appreciate you. Tell a friend to tell a friend next time. Stay well, stay blessed. God bless.